I'm PrissaJean, and you're watching A Taste of New York. And today we're at the restaurant Danielle in the Upper East Side, and we're going to be tasting a delicious, authentic bouillabaisse that will be prepared by Chef Francois. And he's using this exquisite saffron found in Afghanistan, created by Rumi Spice, which has been hand-picked and delivered straight to us to try. So let's go in the kitchen and go check out this recipe.
When you come to Danielle and you order bouillabaisse as an appetizer, this is what you will get. So the plate comes out from the kitchen, the fish still kind of raw, and we pour the hot soup on top, and it just finished to cook table side. It's a classic French dish from the French Riviera, south of France. It's basically a fish stew with saffron, tomato, and anise. We're gonna get going with the vegetable first. So a bouillabaisse can be served just as a soup for the liquid. It can be served as a main course dish, you know, with large pieces of fish inside. So here we're going to use some olive oil. So here we have the fennel and the onion. So you see there's a good amount of garlic. The tomatoes, we're just going to remove the core and then chop it up, and we're going to go inside the recipe a little bit later on. For the sachet, so you can see there's a little bit of rosemary, thyme, parsley, bay leaves, the dry spice also as well. I like to keep the saffron separate, so we can toast it with the vegetable and the fish when we get to the end. So for the fish, we have all kind of little fishes, you know. The tiny ones, we don't really need to do anything to it, you know. The big ones, you're gonna chop it up in pieces. The orange peel is really, you know, it gives a little like a citrus touch to the dish. But you see, you really put very little, and you make sure you remove the white part, so it's not bitter, you know. Now then the vegetable are pretty well sweated. We're going to add the fish. You want to give a nice roast to the fish. You see the fish start to cook slightly, you know. We're going to add the saffron. The saffron, you want to toast it a little bit so you get really the color coming out, you know. Most of the time saffron is used with seafood, but it can be used, you know, with meat or with dessert, with ice cream. So here we have a little bit of espelette. So it's a spice coming from the Basque Country, south of France, between Spain and France. So now then everything is sweated and the saffron and the espelette is inside. We're going to add the tomato and the sachet. So we're also going to use a little bit of tomato paste, and then of course we're going to have what everybody uses in the south of France, Pernod. It's an alcohol made with star anise, fennel seeds, you know, like it's very anisey, you know, and it really like boosts the flavor, you know. And then I'm going to add some water. If you're not sure about how much water to put, usually whatever you do, you just cover pretty much what you're doing. It's better not to put too much at the beginning, but while this is simmering, I'm going to walk you to the garnish we use at the restaurant. So what we have here, we have some potato, diced potato, and a little bâtonnet of fennel, which has been cooked. The potato is cooked just with saffron and water and a little bit of salt, so that's why it turned yellow. And then for the fish, we have some gunnards. We're going to slice the fillet thinly and put it on a plate. So after, we're going to put a little bit of that oil with the saffron on it. Then the aioli is going to go, because it's always good to mix the aioli inside the soup, you know. You can do a roux also, which is the color is a little bit different. So over here, you know, the saffron poached potato and the confit fennel, we just warm up in some of the bouillabaisse. What we're going to do here, it's a play for the waiter, you know, and we're going to put the fish in a plate, and the waiter is going to pour the hot soup, and he's going to cook the fish in front of the customer, who's going to cook at the last second, you know. Basil oil. Then we're going to add the toast, some garlic chips as well, the dry olives. So this particular bouillabaisse is served as an appetizer. So it's really, you know, like a small quantity of liquid, you know. We remove the sachet because this doesn't get, you know, pressed. And then we're going to pass the soup. Fine screen food mill is perfect for that. On this part, it's very important to press a lot. You want to extract every single little bit of flavor out of the bone, the vegetable. So over here, you just go 2 times the right way and go back. You can do the bouillabaisse with a single fish as well. You know, if you just have garnered, you can just use garnered. You know, with the same ingredient. You can see, that's when you stop pressing, when the leftover mix is pretty dry. You know, that's when you get all the flavors out. And this is the finished bouillabaisse. So here we can add a little bit of spice and a touch of pernod. We can add a little bit of saffron also and let it, you know, simmer together. That's it. So, you know, when you taste the bouillabaisse, you know, you really taste, you know, of course the fish is the main flavor, but what you taste, you know, is fennel and saffron. You know, that's really the main ingredients in a bouillabaisse. In each recipe, it's always important to get the best product you can find. And for the bouillabaisse, you know, the saffron is one of the key success of making the dish perfect, you know. We use saffron in many different preparations over the years, you know. It could be used in different dishes in the same time. Right now it's in the bouillabaisse. Sometimes we use it in dessert, in pastry cream, in mussel sauce, you know. Saffron goes very well with shellfish and seafood in general, and with something, you know, briny, you know. We do use it a lot in sauces most of the time, you know.
For more information on Rumi Spice and saffron, visit rumispice.com.
I love saffron because it just adds that extra flavor to a dish that you can't get anywhere else. And it's not like an immediate flavor, it's a very subtle flavor. But you can't have paella without saffron. You can't have risotto Milanese without saffron. Rumi Spice is a social enterprise. We import saffron from rural Afghan farmers to the international marketplace. And Afghanistan happens to grow some of the world's best saffron. Rumi Spice was founded by a group of veterans who have all served in Afghanistan. We really believe that the way to a sustainable future for Afghanistan is through economic empowerment of the Afghan people. Afghanistan is now rife with an opium problem. Saffron is the best way for Afghan farmers to help avoid the problem of poppy and opium and the influence that the Taliban has on these farmers.
I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. I was an infantryman. I spent the fall of 2010 and spring of 2011 in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. When we got to Afghanistan in September, the only thing growing at the time was marijuana. It kind of went hand in hand with why they grow opium in Afghanistan. They're all farmers. That's how they make their living. And opium and marijuana are two of the most lucrative cash crops for them. The problem is most of that money goes to the Taliban, not to the farmers themselves. Our job was to try to convince them to grow something else, but a lot of the farmers just weren't interested. Wheat wasn't going to make them any money, opium would, and so would marijuana. And that was the biggest thing, was money for them.
So saffron actually gives farmers up to 6 times more income than growing poppy for opium. And so it's a viable alternative for an income source for farmers and their families. We source directly from these farmers who we know. We know every single one of them. We know their families. We know where they live. And it's because we have people on the ground who work with the farmers on a daily basis. We've only been in operation for about a year, but Rumi Spice, because of what we've sold so far, has now doubled the production of saffron from our farmers. So they're actually planning on growing twice as much saffron than they did this past year. And that's amazing, in just 1 year. Afghanistan is worth investing in. And if we truly want Afghanistan to succeed in the long term, we're going to have to empower these Afghan farmers. And I truly believe that they're the key to peace and prosperity for Afghanistan.